Welcome to the Cinescape Podcast. We're changing the landscape of movie and TV news and reviews. Happy Labor Day Sunday, everybody from Westville, New Jersey. I am one of your hosts, Sean Harrigan, joined always by Bill Rowdy Roddy Tazzi.
Woo!
Today is our first birthday episode. 1 year ago today, we started our podcast. Our very first show aired September 3rd, 2016. We are here 1 year later, and we are extremely excited to announce that we have, right to my left, Preston and Steve Show's Steve Morrison here in studio with us. Hello, Steve.
Hey, happy birthday.
Thank you,
Welcome,
thank you,
Steve.
thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. 1 year, and you guys have a great setup here, and it's clear you're passionate about all this. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, we gave Steve a little studio tour a couple minutes ago, so he got to tour the facilities a bit and
Met your chief engineer.
Yep, absolutely.
He urinated in our facility here.
Yeah,
It was
and
glorious.
Then I was happy to later learn you had a bathroom, so I apologize for that. But
It was a golden shower. It was glorious. It was great.
But once I hit the Wawa on the way over here, I thought everything was on the table. As far as I walked in there, and I thought there was some sort of radiation leak in the area.
Yeah.
There was an interesting collection of people in there. But no, this is very cool, and it's you guys are the real deal. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Today's show, as always, is brought to you by Alternate Dimension Toys. Stop in today for the largest collection of toys, collectibles, and Funko Pop figures. Bill, before we get into our show today, we also have another gentleman here in studio by the name of Zach. He is from Mission Music, and he is here to not only watch our show today, but he has a little bit of an announcement that we're going to read for him regarding a fundraiser. Bill, would you like to read?
Yes, absolutely.
Event?
So Zach from Mission Music is here, which is Instruments for Life. So he has going on in the Cherry Hill, New Jersey, coming up on Friday, September 2nd from 8 to 12, and Saturday, September 23rd from 12:30 to 12 a.m. Is that correct? Wow. It's an all-day bender right there. Got the Blues Fest going on in Cherry Hill. Mission Music is a 501c3 charity that provides instruments to underdeserved musicians regardless of their ability to pay.
You guys don't deserve this, but we're giving it to you anyway.
Did I say underdeserved?
I want you to know it's by the grace of God we're giving you this stuff. Now shut up.
Wait, what did I say? Oh, I said undeserved?
You guys need to deserve it more.
Shut the f*** up!
Regardless of your status, live music, prizes, amazing food, and great cause. So come on out to Cherry Hill, New Jersey for the Blues Fest, benefiting Mission Music. Zach, anything else you want us to throw in there? Anything you would like to say?
You can check out our website, missionmusicnow.org. It'd be awesome.
missionmusicnow.org. Check it out.
Yeah, we'll be
Go
sure
online.
to include all Zach's links onto our show notes description at the end of the show, so you guys can go check that out. And we'll also share out a picture of the event flyer, so you guys can come on down to Cherry Hill in 2 weeks and be a part of this great event. Zach, thank you so much for being here, and you brought us some cool shirts too. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, sir.
With that out of the way, we are going to get right into our TV buzz. We just have a couple that we want to let you guys know about today. Netflix's Stranger Things has been renewed for a third season, according to show creators Matt and Ross Duffer. The brothers also made it known that they have envisioned a total of 4 seasons for the hit series. Bill, I'm going to start off with you. I know that you and I are huge Stranger Things fans.
Yeah.
So are you excited about 2 more seasons possibly?
I am, yeah. And you know what? I just hope that the lore of the show that really caught on right away doesn't fizzle out. You know, it was one of those things that had a lot going for it. That whole '80s theme, it really captured a lot of fans. I just hope that doesn't get played out in the process. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting as they're getting older. I think as a part of this interview, they said after season 2 and heading into season 3, they're going to be college age. So it's going to be interesting and refreshing to see, assuming they do it the right way, how these stories are going to continue as they get older and not get stale. Steve, what do you think about more Stranger Things?
I think, obviously, I love the first season. It was a beginning to end homage to so many great genre things from the 80s. People don't realize, maybe they do or don't, but even the credits, the graphics, everything was right out of the 80s. And I love that. I always love when there is a defined ending, when they had a full story concept from beginning to end. And these guys seem talented enough to have had sort of a what-if scenario in place. What if it's a hit? We go a couple of years. So I'm cautiously optimistic because as they do get older, it's hard to, when you have a wife and kids, to get on your spider bike and go down to the sump and shoot rats. But for the whole thing can take on a larger, it's such a, now with it coming out, and that whole, King loves those the kid dynamics and all, and that group and the Misfits,
the Losers Club
and everything. I think this is a perfect time. Everyone's excited. Clearly Netflix knows that it's certainly not going to fizzle for a couple of years. So I think it's a perfect arrangement.
Yeah, I mean that first season was just such an uber hit that people that are really not fans of the horror genre per se really even got enveloped in this series. I think a lot of it had to do with just how great the cast was and how great they gelled together, and like we were saying, really had that nostalgic feel that brought you back to when you were playing Dungeons and Dragons in your mom's basement.
Yeah, with a cool edge to it though. Where the kids, kids are always a crapshoot because they can always think, God, I hate these little bastards.
I know. I have a couple at home.
Yeah, right. So they're that whole collective, that group, and I think one of the kids is in it.
Yeah.
That's they have a winning formula. Just to keep it that slightly low rent look, keep that presentation, and I'll be happy. Don't let it get too glitzy and glossy, and I'll be happy.
All right, so we're gonna look for Stranger Things dropping later on this year, season 2, and we're gonna look forward to seasons 3 and possibly 4 moving forward. Bill, would you like to read our next one?
Maybe.
Well, we'll do it then.
Okay. So, Sony Pictures Television is developing a reboot of the popular 70s cop series Starsky and Hutch, with Guardians of the Galaxy director James Gunn attached as an executive producer. The series will air on Amazon. How you feeling about that?
I mean, this is a little before my time, so I never got into Starsky and Hutch on TV. I mean, obviously,
I like the movie.
Obviously, yeah, the movie with Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson.
But Amazon's getting big, And
yeah,
Steve,
I mean,
you're huge with Amazon. You probably bought something while you were sitting here, right?
The UPS guy now has a room in my house. Since I'm here, let me just set up a hot plate. No, it's a listen. Their collection of shows is good. It's not. We're not talking Netflix territory, but they've got some really good stuff. The Man in the High Tower and other stuff like that. But I love the movie. I love that approach. If James Gunn is doing it, then maybe it's going to be done a little tongue in cheek, which is my hope.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think tonally, that Starsky and Hutch movie is the way. If you're going to go and revisit any of these '70s shows, that's the way to do it. Right. They made it a period piece. It was hilarious. I love it. So let's
Snoop Dogg popping up.
Snoop Dogg popping up. If they're gonna update it and make it a fun buddy cop thing, okay. It's not. That's one thing we're really lacking for is buddy cop shows and movies.
Right.
Well, we have Thor Ragnarok coming out soon.
Yeah. Right. So ultimately, we'll see. We'll see. But hey, he's the guy's so talented. I mean, I think he's if there's anybody who's going to be able to put it a proper spin on it.
Right.
Any word as to whether it's going to be tongue in cheek? Is it going to be a they've had a big hit with the Lethal Weapon series.
Yeah, they did.
I haven't checked that out.
And nobody thought that was going to take off.
DJ says it's good.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon was great. I watched the first season. It was hilarious. Marlon Wayans was perfect.
Good. I couldn't get now the dude who's I guess he's Australian or whatever, who's playing the Riggs part.
Riggs.
You ever just don't like someone's face?
Yeah.
Like I don't like my own face.
Yeah.
So he's got this mustache and the whole thing working. But is he good? Does he capture a bit? Because
he captures that insanity pretty well. It's more of not just straight insanity like Mel Gibson's. There's a deep depression behind his insanity.
All right,
and
you can really
that. You can really see that. Yeah.
All right. So if they capture some of that, we'll see. There's nothing. They're going to hit everything again. Everything will eventually become a series.
Yeah, as soon as the release date for that comes available, we will share that out on our social media pages. But that is all that we have for you guys today in TV Buzz. We are now going to be flipping the script to change the focus to film news. Bill, we have some Han Solo news. Are
We
you
do.
ready for this one?
Yeah.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.
The upcoming Han Solo spin-off film has added Paul Bettany to its cast, replacing Michael K. Williams, who recently departed the project. Director Ron Howard tweeted out a set photo of himself and Bettany with a caption reading, "The Outer Rim just got a bit wilder. It's my third opportunity to work with Paul. He's a blast and so talented." So we have Vision popping up in Star Wars now.
Not surprised,
not surprising, yeah.
Disney and Marvel owned, same company there, and
Bettany's been saying he's been looking for a good rim job, and I think this is what he wants. No, wow. What do you think? What do you think about this project overall? Because you have a new director. Director had to.
Yeah, we already know that this project's been plagued with a lot of setbacks and difficulties, and I was just talking earlier about how, for me, it's a little tough to swallow because with all these now spin-off movies, it kind of diminishes what I grew up with, the traditional Star Wars canon, and so, I just like having my typical Star Wars movies that I get to watch, and that be it. Now, do I really need this dive in to figure out who Han Solo, the man, the myth, the legend is? And do I need to see, him complete the Kessel Run in under 12 parsecs?
I do.
Well, maybe you do.
I'm a fan of a lot of their, other incarnations of not only just the movies, but some of the other things in canon. I've been reading a lot of the books lately.
Is that stuff? Is it good?
It depends on the author that you're getting. I'm reading one. I'm blanking on the guy's name now, but he does a trilogy in there, the Aftermath trilogy, and he is a terrible, terrible author. Just the way that he constructs sentences that don't make sense. But the stories themselves are.
Did you
really
do the
cool.
Did you do the forward? As inept a writer as I've ever read. Enjoy the inconsequential story of a young Han Solo.
But and then even watching like Star Wars Rebels or the Clone Wars, things like that, you're getting filler of what has been skipped over. Obviously, like with Rogue One, we're getting that time period in between the prequel trilogy and the start of the original trilogy.
Right.
So we're getting all these cool backstories of characters, with a large time gap in between movies. So it's really cool to see, where they've been, what they're doing, how Han originally got the Millennium Falcon possibly in this movie, how he completed the Kessel Run, things like that. So I think, they are, like you said, they're trying to,
They're milking the cow.
they're milking the cow a bit.
Well, do you know how these things play out? And it's the case. It's like until it comes out, and if it's great, you're like, oh my god, when's the next one coming out? So if they pull it off, it's great, and it's always that roll of dice. Rogue One, when I first heard about it, I'm like, all right,
Right, we were all kind of skeptical.
Okay,
like, what's this about?
But it was awesome.
I guess it's necessary, and now I hold it up next to Empire in the gravity of the movies. I mean that to me is like, dear Gord, that was better than the J.J. Abrams than the Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, yeah.
I thought because that was sort of a retread. I'm sure you guys have hit this territory, but Rogue One was an. I mean. If they can do something like that and add an emotional context and
right.
I didn't realize all Han had to go through to get to where he is in the universe. Okay,
and then to see Vader at the end of Rogue One
being
just
the most
slashing.
Vaderish, yeah.
I mean, that's how you've wanted to see Vader for 40 years.
I mean, now I'm an old bastard. I remember when they unscrewed his helmet in Return of the Jedi, and he was like,
he's a white guy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess we could have played catch a few more. I'm like, no. In Empire, we saw the back of your head, and you were a rotted, effed up looking thing. You're not Mr. Belvedere now. So it's to put him back in that realm.
Yeah,
and restore his intergalactic balls was what needed to be done.
Absolutely.
But
I want a Jabba the Hutt spinoff where we're gonna get to see the criminal underworld of Star Wars,
or the 6-movie Greedo series. At a certain point, I understand. You're right.
Yeah.
It's about milking the cow.
Sure.
But if they do it and they provide a lot of context without going to so much that you're like. Like I thought at this point with all the superhero stuff that I might be tapping out, but I'm still going pretty strong. They're still managing to bring it. So if they can do that with the Star Wars universe, and and it's funny because sometimes people accuse fans of our collective level of being too pedantic and too picky. But the truth of the matter is, we want it to be good.
Right.
I'm not saying we hope it's bad.
Yeah.
We want it to be good.
Absolutely.
But we just approach it cautiously.
Yeah, and we also have to think Disney's opening up Star Wars Land in the next year.
Doesn't hurt.
Got to finance that somehow, right?
Yeah.
And, you think about what Disney's done with Marvel, and it's securing your future generation of fan base, too.
Right,
so
yeah.
you have to understand business, but at the same time, we're some of the biggest fans out there. So we, like you said, Steve, we hold it in such high regard that we just don't want it to suck.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
Bill, we're going to stay in the realm of Star Wars as you read this next story. Go ahead.
Okay. An Obi-Wan spin-off film is also reportedly in the works, with Stephen Daldry in talks to direct. Plot details and casting are being kept under wraps by Lucasfilm as of yet. Ewan McGregor has previously voiced his interest in returning to play the character.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
No bullshit. It's coming back.
I mean, Ewan McGregor was probably the best thing about the prequel series.
Right. Consistent.
He was the best thing about that. He was the emotional, dramatic core of that. Everything that was around him worked, and he had, I think, one of the greatest single sequences when he jumps through the window and takes that ride.
Yeah.
And he's holding. I mean, when that was his thing, and it's just weird though with all these things. Is they're going to look older in the prequels,
right? I actually went back and watched the prequels when Force Awakens came out, and the degradation of digital quality is just so apparent. Like, you watch these films and it totally takes you out of the element, and it's weird because at the time Lucasfilm was using some of the top technology that was out there, but it just didn't stand the test of time.
I'm just tired of entire realms that are CGI. I'm just tired of that is and it can look phenomenal, but
but for how long?
Like Abrams, went outside, and there was sunlight and real exteriors,
right?
And a combination of things. I was just talking to a friend of mine who we work with at the station, Nick Murphy, who does all our video stuff. I love an occasional real deal ship model with like some computer effects attached to it.
Right.
There's something that just looks cool.
Yeah.
Now we're so used to the computer stuff. Oh, this looks interesting. Now there are different things that are more creative. Rogue One had so many real world environments.
Yeah.
That you begin to appreciate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like with the prequels being in the past and how much heavy CGI usage was a part of those films,
it was everything.
Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm are really making it a point to go back to the original trilogy where you're having practical effects the way that they are now. Because, like Steve, like you just said, it has that tangibility to where it makes you actually feel like you're really immersed in the world instead of just seeing a digital representation of it. And, that's part of why fans in 1977 fell in love with Star Wars in the first place.
And it's a future that you can see yourself being in.
Sure.
It feels like a place that you could travel to.
Of course, they would tell you it's the past.
Yeah. It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
Right.
All right. Well, we are actually awaiting more Star Wars movies. We do have not Rogue One. I'm still stuck on that. The Last Jedi coming out around Christmas time. So just a couple of months till we get there. But something that I'm very excited about, the long-awaited Super Troopers 2 has finally been given an official release date of April 20th, 2018.
Mother of God.
The first Super Troopers was and still is one of my favorite comedies of all time. The way that the Broken Lizard guys gel so well together is just so much fun, and the shenanigans that they go through in the movie is just so much fun. Steve, I know you've had a lot of the guys on your show.
Yeah.
Are you excited for Super Troopers 2?
A lot. I liked those guys a lot, and I was not a massive fan. I enjoyed Super Troopers, but I didn't hold it in cult status.
Right.
I wasn't like, oh, here we go.
And that's really where it's gotten to, is that cult status.
It took a while, and now I always liked it. Now I appreciate it more, and this has been a long time coming. And the word is there are a lot of other people of some celebrity that are on board as well, who might end up in this sequel. But it seems like it's been an eternal work in progress.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
But for fans, You know, it's
16
a big,
years. So it'll be 17 years next year when that movie finally comes out. It came out in 2001, I believe.
It's the one that got them to the dance, and so to see the characters, you know, amongst cops, and we do so much stuff with police. They love that movie.
Yeah.
That movie is just it's the industry movie to see if you're a police officer. So I'm excited to see what they do. And a friend of ours, a comedian, Todd Glass,
I love Todd
has
Glass.
been lobbying for any possible aspect of that. He even wanted to read the closing credits if he could do that. But we'll see if that ends up happening. But for fans and for fans of those guys, it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Bill, it's a two for here. A, did you like the original Super Troopers? And B, do you think that this is a film that could fall under that category of a comedy sequel coming way down the line where it just does not, have any kind of semblance to the original?
You always have a tough time with sequels, and
especially comedy sequels.
Especially when the first movie was so original, and now you have this one coming out 16 years later. I mean, when you think about movies like Anchorman 2.
Not very good.
Not very good. Caddyshack 2.
Terrible.
You have half the cast missing for Caddyshack.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Jackie
You might as well
Mason.
call it something else.
I mean, when you think of the Dumb and Dumber sequel and stuff,
Terrible.
there's a lot of those guys that write that stuff are very original in their context. And
I'll give you two comedy sequels that were god awful, and the originals are awesome. I'll give you Zoolander and Zoolander 2.
Yeah.
Terrible. Joe Dirt and Joe Dirt 2. Huge drop off.
You weren't starting that far off the start line. Joe Dirt.
Yeah.
Joe Dirt Spawn. I will tell you, watch the Anchorman 2 had the luxury. We talked to Adam McKay, and he's a friend of the show, and they got the chance to do an entire different take of the movie with different lines.
Yeah.
Because they shoot so many excessive lines.
Yeah.
I think Anchorman 2 is aged pretty nicely. So
Okay.
I give it a little, you know what? It's funny. And we talked to Will Ferrell about this, and he's been on the show. And when I saw, 70% of the Will Ferrell movies I see, okay, that's fun.
Yeah.
And then you revisit it. And then it starts to click and fire.
I didn't
for
like
you.
Anchorman the first time I saw it. I was like, what is this?
No, I didn't like
But
the
then
original Zoolander.
yeah.
And it took subsequent views to say, now I freaking love it.
Yeah.
You're right to catch that initial lightning in a bottle, and then it's very rare. In fact, I'm having a hard time thinking of a sequel comedy that was from my mind a slam dunk. Can you think of it?
Wayne's World 2.
Wayne's World 2.
Wayne's World, or even the Austin Powers. So the
Spy Shack Me was good.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Goldmember, the third one, was a little step down, but it was still funny.
But none of them. It's not like you're not a Godfather 2 scenario.
Right,
They're serviceable and they distinguish themselves, but they're not. It's hard to exceed that.
Yeah, because you're trying to rehash the same beats of the first one in a new way, and sometimes it just falls.
It's much
flat.
like Star Trek: The Next Generation. In many ways, it's superior, but will never be as recognized as the original.
Well, you know what one I'm absolutely ecstatic for, and hopefully it does come to fruition, is MacGruber 2.
Oh, man.
Because that, to me, is Casey and I on the Preston Steve Show are massive fans of that, and I think that's one where the character, if the characters have they have the kind of nuance to MacGruber, I guess that's the wrong word. But if they
You're
have
giving it too much clout.
if they have staying power, then I think that can work. But sometimes you just say, well, why don't you just try do something new, do something different. I mean, Ghostbusters 2 is a perfect example.
Ghostbusters
that was another one.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
It's nice. It has a few laughs, but
Right.
it's not like the first.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna totally shift gears here from comedy to horror.
It's
Bill,
probably
read
right
this
up
next one.
Steve's alley
Steve, I
here.
think you're gonna like this story.
Actress Anya Taylor-Joy is reteaming with her The Witch director Robert Eggers for a remake of the 1922 classic vampire film Nosferatu.
Steve, what do you think about a Nosferatu remake?
Well, I'm a fan of the original with the original, the silent, with Max Schreck.
Max Schreck, yeah.
Then I'm a
Wasn't
fan.
he in Batman Returns?
Right, yes, yes. Christopher Walken's character. But he, Werner Herzog's version with Klaus Kinski, I love as well. So, you know, it's been done. You know, it's from a material. It's from an actual ripoff of the source material. Is a ripoff of Bram Stoker's Dracula. You know, so
series,
that's why it's so similar. But I love that character. And in fact, the Master in Salem's Lot is an homage to, in the miniseries, is an homage to Max Schreck and that Nosferatu character.
Did not know that.
But and in fact, if you watch it's funny because in the original silent film Nosferatu, they couldn't film in darkness. They didn't have the light. So nighttime scenes are in broad daylight.
Yeah.
So this vampire that's supposed to combust the second he goes out in the sun is it's like, you know, putting on the copper tone. But we'll see. It all depends on the mood. I mean, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that character. I love that because Klaus Kinski has a great sequence in the Werner Herzog one, which I think is kind of a masterpiece, where he's describing what it's like to live eternally, you know, and how, but he really looks rash. It's like nobody would go up to that effing house and go, you know, Jonathan Harker would be saying, oh, you know, dude, I'm going to put you in touch with LegalZoom, and they'll handle all your, all of your stuff because there's no way I'm staying in this house. But that said, we'll see. You know,
do you think it's going to be a silent film like the original, or are they going to have, you know,
that'd be a ballsy move. Yeah, that'd be a ballsy move.
That'd be interesting.
You know, that's sometimes people cannot handle the subtle, slow progression. When Dracula says, you know, the line, I don't drink wine, or the children of the night. Those are, to me, that's a classic. You know, that's like Fragile in A Christmas Story to me. To hear those lines to me, right, are so cool. You know, and actually, excuse me, the Francis Ford Coppola, his Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, the one that he did, where he used old cinema tricks, you know, shadows and active non-CGI effects. I love. Did you guys like that?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, so if that's the way they
maybe movie magic.
Yeah, they give the treatment of, and it's a tribute to movies as well.
Right.
If they do that with this, then we'll see. Again, it's always the same.
Get some old timey Hollywood in there.
If it stinks, I'm going to hate him eternally. But until then, let's see what they do. So we'll see. It's an exciting idea.
All right. Well, this next story that we have is involving. It's Hellboy, Bill. Yeah. So I'm not going to talk about your favorite actor, Ron Perlman. He's not involved in the story. But this is really interesting, and it's really brought about you know, a revitalization of the whole Hollywood whitewashing topic that's been going on. 1 week after Deadpool actor Ed Skrein joined the cast of the upcoming Hellboy reboot as BPRD member Major Benjamin Daimio, the actor removed himself from the project amidst whitewashing backlash. Excuse me. I accepted the role unaware that the character in the original comics was of mixed Asian heritage, Skrein explained in his statement. There has been an intense conversation and understandable upset since that announcement, and I must do what I feel is right in my hope that one day these discussions will become less necessary and that we could help make equal representation in the arts a reality. I'm sad to leave Hellboy, but if this decision brings us closer to that day, it is worth it. I hope it makes a difference. Steve, you know, amidst this whole whitewashing thing, you know, what are your thoughts and what your take on, you know, actors of a certain heritage being
Anglo-Saxon,
Anglo-Saxonized by white actors?
To me, listen, it gets a little crazy because at a certain point, I jokingly tweeted out, I think you should only play a character that's based on you. You know, that at a certain point, because you're going to get to that. It's a little crazy.
So Emma Stone shouldn't be a Hawaiian chick.
If they cast her in that role and they want her to play that role, and that's fine, because on the flip side, they're always saying, well, let's have our first black James Bond. Well, James Bond wasn't black, but you know, or let's have our first gay Spider-Man. Or listen, you can. I think I can understand sensitivities, but at a certain point, it's okay if this guy. I mean, it's okay if I think you should at least have an open casting and get
the best person
person for the role.
And don't you think too that you should also do your homework as the actor to know the background of the character that you're playing? Because I like that he went out on on this matter and decided to pull himself out of it and speak out about it. But don't you do a little bit of homework and figure out that the background of this character is Asian and what that context might translate into?
This guy's a working actor. He gets hired for Hellboy. It's like, the weight of some issues from the Asian community shouldn't be on his shoulders. I mean, it's up to the producers, and I think, and many consider what he did an honorable thing.
Yeah,
it's his choice. It's his absolute freedom to do so. If he felt it was a bad issue, he himself apparently is mixed race and felt a certain obligation to do that. That's okay. I think, though, there's a happy medium between becoming irate and just saying, well, we wish it had been. And then, but I mean, for example, a Ghost in the Shell, that was a big
Scarlett
thing.
Johansson.
And even the director and the writer of the source material said, well, it's not that big a deal, So I think people who get upset for other people or annoy the F out of me, you know. So, but for the same reason, I wouldn't, frankly, and whatever your take is on this, I respect it, but I wouldn't want an Amish Shaft. I don't think that would work. So in some cases, they're liberal with and they contort things and let's try this and look at the female Ghostbusters, okay? So everyone freaked the hell out. Oh, I had no problem with it. Make a good one. If the original parties sign on to it and they're fine, I didn't think it was that good a movie,
Yeah.
But okay. Your displeasure is registered. Now let's move along.
Yeah.
And then so maybe next time they'll think and do it a different way. But on one hand, Hollywood wants to contort the crap out. Now we're doing an all girl. What's the latest one? Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
We're doing all. Is that even? Does it even have to be distinguished? Like my issue with Idris Elba is going to be the first black James Bond. Idris Elba is too damn good an actor to be stuck with the label of the black James Bond.
Yeah.
Make him 008. Because to me it's who wants to be that? Oh,
right.
He's the dwarf James Bond. It's no. To me, that's
Peter
just,
Dinklage, right?
Everybody gets too crazy about it, and it's. Listen, they can do what they want, but I think this guy should have, he could have stayed with the role.
I think as long as the actor that gets cast in the role, as long as their core essential values and character is essential to what is called for the role, that should inherently be good enough. Now, obviously, if you cast a white guy to play a black role or vice versa.
Martin Luther King would probably be a bad
that probably
move.
And there's certain cases where that's obviously not going to work out. But at the end of the day, and it stinks that we're still having to deal with these kind of racial issues in 2017. But at the end of the day, it should be the best person for the job should get the part. But that's obviously not the case.
I think you're going to find that most people in the broad spectrum of the people out there who they're not as caught up as a lot of virtue signaling people would have you believe that we got to eat. No, that's fine. So you want to make go do that.
So the SJWs, the social justice
if the movie,
warriors?
and if the movie's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. But I think I don't know a lot of people who overly sweat this issue, but I mean, it made some people very. As long as it makes him happy, and that was his choice to do it, that's great. And as long as if they had a wide casting call and brought in a whole bunch of people, I mean, Tilda Swinton in Constantine and Doctor Strange. So in Constantine, she plays Gabriel,
right.
a male angel, we're led to believe.
But she's so androgynous right? Like you couldn't tell.
And so in Doctor Strange, she caught a whole bunch of crap. I thought she was great in Doctor Strange.
She was.
Look, you go back to that movie Remo Williams, where Joel Grey played an old Asian mystic. He did a great job. So at some point, I think, okay, register your discontent and let them know, and maybe next time it'll be better. But I think the producers should hire the people they believe to be the best for the role,
right? Yeah,
because you wouldn't want to get the role simply because of that. I think it goes both ways. Well, he was better, but you're legitimately this.
Look, if somebody's going to hire me because I'm a white guy, that's fine.
There we go. Yeah.
Just saying. Before we continue, I'm looking at the chat here on Facebook. We are on Facebook Live if you guys are checking us out live right now. The episode will be up on iTunes a little bit later and on our YouTube page later tonight. But my sister wrote in, She said, Sean, tell Steve your sister is a huge fan of his show. LOL. Love you and congrats. This is so cool. My sister also is a huge fan of the Preston and Steve show.
That's awesome.
So she just wanted to say hi.
Oh, what's her name?
Her name is Chrissy.
Hey, Chrissy, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it.
There you go. Chris, if you're listening, he just said hi. All right, we're going to continue. We just have a couple more news stories in the movie world. We have some DC bullshit to go over. Bill, read this first
Done
one.
with DC.
Are you done with DC?
Yeah, you know
Really?
what? I mean, we don't even really need to announce these things. We could just go right into it.
Because I got something to tell you.
Let's
You
talk.
know.
Let's talk, Steve. You know
All
what I
right.
mean?
Because listen, Preston and I have said this many times on the show. You know, there are these camps, and listen, no one was that massive a fan of the Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds.
No, not at all.
But you know what? I walked out. I had some fun. I saw Green Lantern do some cool stuff. Mission accomplished. I'm cool with that. I'm a fan of Batman v Superman. I also consider Ben Affleck the best screen Batman.
I'll agree with that.
He is the Frank Miller Batman I've been waiting for.
I think the ultimate edition of that movie is much better than the theatrical.
Which is a mind boggler, because you're both exactly right. There's about another half hour of material
yeah.
that explains how they were able to be played against, because these are two. One is the greatest detective in the world,
right,
and the other one is an intergalactic Kryptonian of mass knowledge of the universe.
Yeah,
they're seeing each other. You would have to say, well, he seems to be doing some good stuff. Well, he seems to be doing some good stuff. So once you see the plan unfold and how they're manipulated and set up, and all that comes into place, that adds a lot more explanation to it. And so, yes, at the end, hey, your mom's name's Martha.
Why did you say that name?
Yeah, got it. Yeah, that certainly could have been refined a little bit, but God, son of a bitch, Affleck looked awesome.
Yeah.
The stature,
but is he going to be playing Batman for much longer?
Listen, if we get Justice League and it's worth a damn, I don't even know. It can't lose.
Yeah.
Just give me the fact that Zack Snyder is such a fanboy that he included so much of that iconic imagery, you know, as he did in Batman v Superman. Give me a couple of those shots. Give me that when he's standing there, or even my favorite part of Suicide Squad is the opening sequence with him rounding up everybody.
Yeah.
You know, so I think DC is finding its footing. Wonder Woman, solid movie.
Yeah.
Not a great movie.
No.
Not Civil War, great,
No.
but a really good movie.
Yeah.
So I'm not upset with seeing these iconic DC figures, portray that way. And also, you know, there's a lot of cool DC stuff still in the drawer that they haven't pulled out yet.
There is, and
that they've announced, but when they lose directors and actors and that, and the other.
You know what they did? They languished too much in Batman territory. Then they, with Chris Nolan's films and so on and so forth, and they didn't develop the other characters as much as they could have.
Yeah.
And so they're watching Marvel and like, oh my God, we've got to cover some turf. So when you have Batman v Superman and you introduce 4 or 5 new characters in the form of QuickTime videos on a laptop,
right?
you're like, wow. There's got to be more to that than this. Or, hey, have you heard this? There's a guy, Aquaman. Oh, really? But they'll get it. You know. I've never any one of these. I can't even think of the last unwatchable. I mean, what was? Does a really horrific superhero movie come to mind? That
Well, Bill falls asleep in all the DC movies.
I've fallen asleep during what? Suicide Squad,
Batman, Superman.
Yeah.
Well, he fell asleep during Kong Skull Island too. So.
Yeah.
And
He's
Alien
just
Covenant.
not a moviegoer.
Right. Well, no.
That was a good one.
No, but it's just, I guess for me, you know, one thing that affects me is the overall look of the DC movies on the big screen. I don't like how everything is so gloomy, that everything is so dark, the way that it's shot. Like, the overall feel of it tonally just doesn't ring with me.
You're right, and it's on a level. Zack Snyder, the same director, who did Dawn of the Dead,
right?
Real World. That opening sequence where she's leaving her house in the broad daylight, the zombies are running after her. same director,
Yeah.
same kinetic, everything. There has been a color palette to these movies.
Yes, they use that blue.
Right, that's
and
that's
the bluish, grayish.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a little bit more, a departure from that a little bit. I understand. I get it. Batman is a dour, dark.
Right.
But I agree. And he's a director. If you look at Sucker Punch, which to me is a mess of a wonderful movie.
God,
There's
Is that the one with the chicks?
super hot
That was on
girls
TV yesterday.
in short
sequences.
skirts doing I don't even know what. And the one dances very well, and everyone goes into a trance. It's bizarre and stupid and incoherent, and yet it's visually unbelievable. So we'll see. But I think DC still has plenty of life.
And I
in
think the hope that we have here for Justice League is with the signing of Joss Whedon coming on board, because with Snyder's departure, Joss Whedon was apparently just supposed to be doing some light wrap-up work involved, but now he's putting in $1 million reshoots into this movie to make the tone of it a little bit. Nothing's been said, but I would assume to be a little bit more of that tongue-in-cheek Marvel, to lighten up the overall feeling of the movies, and hopefully the look of it gets a little bit of an upgrade too.
Believe it or not, I've heard a little bit from an insider that now Joss Whedon, at the time he was doing these directorial punch-ups, going through a very acrimonious divorce. This is all going on now, right? With the whole deal. And so he was brought in to do a little bit of punch-up, but just to finish, Zack Snyder had a family tragedy.
Right.
I believe a child died.
His daughter committed suicide.
Right. So which is horrific, but you can sort of see in the trailers they've released. I don't know if that's Zack Snyder or if it's Joss Whedon. There are a few laughs, a few things that lighten up.
Barry Allen as the Flash.
I feel like that was
comical.
Zack Snyder, because those original teasers and promos
have been out
came
forever.
out really early on. But it'll be interesting to see what Joss adds to Justice League with his polish ups. We're gonna move on from our DC talk, but just a couple of
Was
things.
there too much of a DC prophet on that one?
No. I mean, we all want these movies to be great, and we want to love them.
They got to be great.
Like what we were talking about earlier, that's why we hold them in such high regard, is because we have such high hopes for them.
I think what also we feel is just the overall business plan that that Warner's and DC just doesn't seem to have a grip on. Like, obviously Marvel is a well-oiled machine at this point, going on.
Yeah, they've had their MCU for a lot longer.
Yeah, going on over 10 years now.
Look at the Chris Nolan trilogy of Batman movies, Oscar nominated.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they were phoning in a lot of their projects. They just had a different. Everyone knew that Chris Nolan's Batman would not make it into the Justice League movie.
Yeah.
It's two entirely different environments.
Right. He didn't want that kind of
but now we
magical, mystical element.
Yeah. Now we got a Harley and Joker movie that's supposed to be standalone.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have a spin-off Batman series that's
there's
not supposed to
there's
include
gonna be two
Affleck.
separate Joker movies.
Yeah,
now. One with Jared Leto and Margot Robbie, and then one DC
Possibly
and
with
Warner Brothers are actually looking at Leonardo DiCaprio,
which I kind of like.
Which could be interesting. We're definitely going to have that come up next show, and we'll be posting more on that as it comes out on Facebook and Twitter. We're actually going to skip ahead. We're going to cut out our strange stories for the day, as we're getting a little later on time.
It's me, right? I'm too chatty.
No. Bill is too chatty usually. But Steve, before we get into our trivia matchup, which we're very excited about, we wanted to talk to you about the Preston Steve Show. We're here in New Jersey right now, but Bill and I are from the Philadelphia suburbs ourselves, and we've literally been listening to you for 20 years now.
It's pretty.
Your show debuted in '97 on DRE.
Yeah.
Went to Y100 until the station went under, and now you've been at MMR for a number of years now.
2005 we started.
Right. So we have grown up listening to you in the morning, and it's a really surreal experience to have you here with us, because you've been such a big part of our lives. Talk about some of your favorite moments of doing your show and what it's meant to your overall life.
Well, years ago when I went to college, I went to college. I went for television, radio, and film production, with the emphasis being on TV and film. I'd always done comedy movies and Super 8 and 8, before video was the thing. I'm an old bastard, so that's why I go back that far. But, comedy was always at the core of everything that I did. I was weaned on Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny taught me everything. Jerry Lewis.
Who just passed away.
Just passed away. From the visual to the verbal, to the subtle, to the juvenile, all that stuff, and it was at a certain point, over years and years of going to various jobs and driving along and listening to various morning shows, and feeling a real connection on the radio. Over the years, I always realized there was more of an intimacy in that, and then listening to Howard for years growing up when he came to NBC in New York, which is where I was living. WMMR and Private Parts, which is the Citizen Kane of radio movies.
I love that.
And Howard fully deserves his legend, because he did something that it got me through rush hours. It got me through driving in horrific traffic, and that was his modus operandi was to take your first he was on in the afternoons,
right,
and then went on to the mornings. And then to be in a position later on through the multiple steps that got me into radio and focused and thinking, wow, this is actually something I'm really enjoying. To be able to do that for other people.
Yeah.
And Preston and I and the entire show, Kathy and Nick and Marissa and Casey would echo this. To do that for people who are driving, to return the favor, so to speak, or pay it forward, there's nothing like it. There's just nothing like that connection where you have so we and the listening area in New Jersey and Philadelphia and Delaware and northern Maryland, and we're all in a big car in the morning driving along and just shooting the shit and having fun, and that is a wonderful thing. So that, to me, in general, is the greatest takeaway from it. And then there have been moments where, for me, the big joy is making Preston laugh very heartily. So when he does it and everyone loses it, and on our daily Rush videos or our weekly Rush videos, those moments, people come up and they say, I was driving my mother to chemo or whatever, and I lost it. I started cracking up and blah blah blah, because of this thing you did or whatever. That's as good as it gets, and so. Without sounding like a Hallmark card, that's really it. The perks and everything are wonderful, but there's nothing that can beat knowing you're going to get up, you're going to swing for the fences every time, because we try. I mean, we have stuff coming up now that, that is probably illegal. One thing that might be considered rape, but it's okay because it's one of our interns and it's a man. So but there's all sorts of things.
Oh my God!
Exactly. So there are things but I mean, to be paid to do that and to have people respond so nicely to it, is the thing. Now, guests for us we. Listen, it's great to get a Tom Cruise or super big stars, or we had Daniel Craig on the other day.
Yep.
That's great. But more often than not, it's Martin Cove, the sensei from Karate Kid, or it's Ralph Macchio, or it's for me, one of the big things was getting Keir Dullea from 2001: A Space Odyssey, and have him sign my 2001: A Space Odyssey Blu-ray. I'm like, this is the dude. In 1968, I was a kid. I was a little kid, and when I went to see 2001, I was like, oh my God.
And they're the more real people, and they give you the more visceral conversations nowadays.
Do.
I can say the same thing for us.
We've gotten to meet like Donald Gibb and Corbin Burnson,
Chris Owen, Thomas Ian Nicholas from the American Pie movie, and those guys, they sit there and they talk to you and they give you these stories, and I'm sure you get guys like Daniel Craig, and they're there for promoting a movie, and they kind of they're allotted only so much time, and they just do the typical.
Yeah, it's like
when
I got to interview Hugh Jackman. I had 3 minutes with him.
Right.
Super nice guy, and he answered every question that I had. But his handlers are rushing everybody in and out. And
do you know when
everything done?
Your favorite interview will be Hugh Jackman in 15 years. When he's done he's done a little bit of TV, and he's maybe been on Match Game, and then you're gonna get and like that's when it starts to open up. So I mean, and we've had some great. I mean, for Christ's sake, Dolly Parton came on and blew us away. I mean, the stories, the whole the stuff that's out there. I mean, I have my my holy grail list for a while included Steve Jobs. That's not likely at this point. But Clint Eastwood or people who are we don't give a hell. We're just going to give you.
Right.
We're going to talk and keep talking, and we'll have people that come in. The comedians are great. Who are the ones who are really having Gilbert Gottfried in is great. Having and some of our comedian friends like Big J and Big J Okerson.
Yeah, Big J.
Bill Burr and Greg Fitzsimmons and these guys who come in who are just storytellers. They're great. But on a besides that, just moments on the show and things that stand out, or when we've done stunts, we're like, how the hell did we pull that off? Like the dumpster pull we had in our
that was awesome.
Yeah, and we just did something that a lot of people are talking about with the durian fruit, which is the most
I saw that.
smelliest fruit, and then this Surströmming, I think it's called. It's
Is that the fish?
Yeah, it's the way Vikings used to cure their fish for.
I've heard terrible things.
Staggeringly horrific, and that is the joy of it. And then also meeting guys like you and the whole thing. I have nothing, but on every level, whether it be from the smallest to the largest, to the Camp Out for Hunger, for having directors that I've admired and people come in, it's all good. I mean, and it's one thing that everyone on the show. It's a gift. And it's one we don't take for granted.
And I think the biggest way that as a listener, I can say is rewarding, and you don't get to see this because you're in the studio, is when you are driving in your car and you are making somebody crack up hilariously. And it's either one of two things. I either look over to the car next to me and somebody's looking at me. Either they're looking at me crazy, like, what are you doing? Or what's going on in your car that you're laughing so much? Or you see somebody else doing the same thing next to you, and you just do that head nod, and I think that's the sign of success for what you're doing.
That's a home run. We had a guy, a police officer, a state trooper in Delaware, say he cut off a police chase from a speeder because he started laughing, and he had to pull off. He goes, so that guy got away with it. But yeah, that's what could be better than that, to hear that. We have a thing that we've instituted on the show for the past couple of years called Jerkman's Comp, where if you run into the back of a car in front of you because you're laughing or you injure yourself in some capacity, we'll send you something. So, and we get a lot of those, but no, it's fun. And
hopefully the lady that hit me doesn't try that.
Right, yeah. Try that in court, it won't work, but for us, it'll work.
Yeah. That's great.
For the last 20 years, I'm going to speak on behalf of everybody in the listening area. We just wanted to thank you so much for making our morning commutes to work, that more bearable to go through. I know I drive a lot for work. I use my own vehicle for work, going to different places. And I got to listen to you guys for hours in the morning. And
thank you.
It makes things so much more pleasant.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'll return the thanks by saying, and this is the truth, you've kept us employed. You've kept us, you've given us livelihoods and lives in Philadelphia, and always make us feel welcome and invite us to do cool things like this. And so thank you right back. I think we clearly have the greater debt to you guys, but thank you for the kind words.
We even had Kevin in the chat room say he works in grocery stores for Coca-Cola, and he dies laughing in the aisle, and the amount of weird looks he gets is unreal. So
cool.
There you go, Kev.
That's very nice. That's awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks for listening, Kevin.
Well, while we still have just a little bit of time, DJ, I know we're going to go a little bit over.
That's okay.
We do have...
That's okay.
We do have a new incarnation of the Cinescape Trivia Challenge. Our guest, Steve Morrison, is going to be facing off against our current league champion here in Mr. Bill Tozzi.
All right. So just to understand, we do a game called Crack Shot.
Okay.
And the days of trivia that were more concise with a body of knowledge, we laughingly say we're experts on certain topics, but now with millions of different shows and movies and so on and so forth, it's basically just a game so we get shot in the ass. And because
I know you brought it back finally. It's been a while.
Our trivia expertise is nominal. I think you will maintain your title, but I'll take a swing
We'll
at
see.
it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You have a lot of knowledge up there in the
Useless
old
knowledge.
cranium.
Yeah.
All right, so here are the rules for round one.
Right on us.
Round one is TV trivia. So the Cinescape Trivia Challenge will see you two competing in trivia for movie and TV. Each question in round one will be worth a total of 1 point. Bill, you will get 5 questions first. Stevie, you will get your 5 questions after Bill gets his.
All right.
Bill, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. On Saved by the Bell,
Yeah.
what was the name of the beach club the cast worked at?
Oh shit.
Give you a countdown of 5, 4, 3,
That was
2.
Carosi's.
Need an answer.
Was it Carosi's?
The answer was
I know
the
this.
Malibu. Well, there's no stealing, Steve.
Oh.
Go ahead. Well,
The Harry Cooter.
Harry Cooter is very close, but
Oh,
it's
no,
not
that's-
the answer.
that's
It
a
is
strip
the
club, I'm sorry.
Malibu Sands Beach Club.
I'm thinking of the manager who managed
That-
it.
that
Was,
he was-
Mr. Carosi.
And it was Leah Remini was his daughter.
Yeah, that's when
All
she
right.
wasn't
In
fat.
full-blown Scientology at that point.
Yeah. All right, question 2. Who played Mike Seaver on Growing Pains?
That was Kirk Cameron.
Kirk Cameron is correct for
All right.
1 point. Kirk Cameron is correct.
Who played Boner?
Walter Koenig's son.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was and he hung. Here, fun fact: he hung himself in a park in Seattle.
I was just gonna
That's
say.
awesome.
Yeah, he did.
Con!
He did. Yeah, he had issues. Fun fact.
Fun fact: when you yell "con," it'll echo through space.
Yes. All right, Bill, your third question in TV trivia. How long were Jerry, Elaine, George, and Kramer sentenced to prison in the finale of Seinfeld?
10 years.
Oh, no. Steve, do you know?
5
It was 1 year.
1 year
1 year.
on a trumped-up charge.
Yeah. The
Gotta
Good
chop it
Samaritan
up.
Law. All right, number 4. Frasier was a spinoff of what 80s TV show?
Cheers.
That is correct, sir. Cheers. And your final question in TV
Yes.
trivia, Bill. George Clooney played a doctor in what 90s medical drama?
ER.
Also correct.
The first thought was Chicago Hope for some reason. I don't know.
Chicago. Why not?
Wasn't that Eric LaSalle?
Well, ER is set in Chicago, so you're not
Eric
too far
LaSalle
off.
was on ER as well.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
and he was in Logan.
Howie Mandel was on Chicago. Hopefully, he was.
And Bobby's World.
Bobby's World. Oh, don't you know?
All right, Steve, we are going to give you your TV questions. What was the name of the talking dolphin on Sequest DSV?
I actually dug that show. For
I did too.
Roy Scheider?
Roy Scheider and the kid who actually
killed himself
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Fun fact: the kid on Sequest killed himself.
Jonathan Brandis.
Yeah, I think he and Walter Koenig's son doubled up on the rope. No, I for some reason I think it was like a philosopher's name or something, or I'm going to say Blowhole.
Blow.
The great Greek philosopher Blowhole.
Blowhole is incorrect. The answer was Darwin.
Darwin.
So you were on the right
Sorta,
track.
yeah, Darwin.
Darwin.
Blowhole wouldn't have worked.
Question number 2. Which Stand By Me actor also starred on Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Will Wheaton.
Will
Will Wheaton.
is correct for 1 point. Heading on to question number 3. What is Marge Simpson's maiden name?
Marge Simpson's maiden name.
Marge Simpson's maiden name.
I used to know this. I think I might have had it on a crack shot question. No, I would have had it. Casey would have had it. One of us would have had it. It's something. Well, this was the sisters' names.
5, 4, 3, 2.
At a loss. Ken.
The answer is Bouvier.
Bouvier. Yes.
Bouvier. A little French. All right, question number 4 in TV trivia. What planet is Alf from?
Melmac.
Melmac certainly is correct.
It's on MeTV right now, by the way.
Is it?
They brought it back.
Nice.
Casey is a huge fan.
Oh, I love Alf.
Do you know not to run your time down here, but you remember the dad on that series? They were pictures of him in a crack den with a bunch of guys.
Really?
He was caught smoking crack. You can look for it. There are pictures of the dad from Alf, who fell on hard times, and he's sitting in a crack den smoking crack.
Nice.
Yeah.
DJ, you're gonna have to find that picture at some point.
Am I right? Are you looking for it? Yeah. There you go. All right. Do a search.
DJ, if you find that, put it up on our screen here so we can enjoy it. But as DJ is looking for that, Steve, your final question.
So they don't have crack on Melmac.
Melcrack. That's what they got. Your final question in TV trivia, number 5. Jenny McCarthy starred on this MTV dating game in the 90s.
Oh, Singled Out.
That is correct. Singled Out. So at the end of round 1, we have a score of Bill Tozzi with 3, Steve Morrison also with 3. We got a tie game.
There we go.
Good round, gentlemen. We are going to head into round 2.
Fight.
Which is movie trivia. Bill, I'm going to throw it.
There he is. Right? Smoking crack.
Smoking crack,
He's
kissing
lighting up
dudes,
and everything.
and-
Making out with dudes.
Wow.
I don't know if you ever smoke crack, but you get this. You get a hankering for for Donald.
Wow.
It's just
Oh, man.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Or in many ways, that's how you can pay for your crack.
Yeah, absolutely.
By filleting a dude.
What was that song in the South Park movie? Getting hand jobs for crack. All right. Bill.
Yeah.
Round 2 movie trivia.
All right.
Name the 2 lead actors in Grumpy Old Men.
That would be Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau.
That would be correct. One of my favorite comedy series.
We also
of all
had
time.
Burgess Meredith in there.
Yeah.
He was the father.
restaurant. Yeah.
Father of those old bastards.
Question number 2. What is the name of the second Indiana Jones movie, which was released in 1984? The second Indiana Jones movie. What was the subtitle?
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Steve, what is it?
Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom. Is
It also
correct.
has a distinguishing aspect to it, or it's distinguished by this aspect. First movie to get a PG-13.
Ooh.
They actually created that rating for Temple of Doom because they thought the heart ripping might have been a little much for the kiddies.
That's fine. All right, and question number 3, Bill. In Vegas Vacation, what alias does Rusty go by while in the casino?
That would be Mr. Papa Giorgio.
That is absolutely correct. That's a good one, Bill.
Mr.
Good
Papa
pull.
Giorgio.
Mr. Papa Giorgio.
I love when he gets his license done on the street with the
Yeah.
guy.
And that actor was Toby Russ. Remember him from the kids show on Nickelodeon? Played
Blue's
Artie.
Clues?
No. Pete and Pete.
Pete and Pete?
Yeah,
Was
remember
there
Pete and Pete? Yeah, he played Artie.
Was that really him?
Yeah,
No
the
shit.
strongest man
In the world. Huh.
Mm.
Fun fact.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, question number 4, Bill. What country do Pauly Shore and Sean Astin say that Brendan Fraser's character is from in Encino Man?
Oh shit.
Encino Man.
Fuck.
They dig him up in the
I
backyard.
know. He's from.
I'll give you a countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2,
It's right there. I don't know.
1.
Okay.
Steve, do you know it?
France?
No, the answer is Estonia.
Estonia.
Estonia, and they call him Stony.
I had like Ethiopia in my head. I knew it was something like that.
Well, I mean, Brendan Fraser can't pull off an Ethiopian.
That's whitewashing. That's whitewashing. How dare you?
Bill,
Step down.
Your final question in round 2 movie trivia.
Yeah.
What is the name of the nightclub featured in The Mask?
Oh.
Remember the nightclub
I
featured
know
in The
this. Hold on.
Mask? They went there to dance.
I know. I'm thinking coconut, but it's
I'll give you 5.
it's Coco Bongo. Right?
That is correct.
Because I had first I had Oingo Boingo in my head.
Not
The
too
Harry
far
Cooter
out.
again.
Yeah, the Harry Cooter Club would also be acceptable. All right, so Bill, in your round 2 category, you got 1, 2, 3 as well, bringing up your
Okay.
total to 6.
There's some pretty good ones in that, too.
Yeah.
You did well.
Steve, your first question in the movie category. In Spaceballs, what flavor of jam is used to jam Dark Helmet's radar?
I believe it's raspberry.
You would be correct.
There's only one person who would dare give me the raspberry.
Lone Star.
Lone Star.
Question number 2. What is the name of Charlie Sheen's character in the Hot Shots movies?
God.
Ooh.
What is his name? I actually like those movies.
They're hilarious.
Actually, that might be a sequel that's actually pretty good to the original.
Yeah, that's actually, in fact, it's actually a little bit better than.
I think it's probably better than the first one.
I'm blank on this one. I'm not even.
Can I take it?
Bill, what is it?
Topper Harley?
Topper Harley, that's it, yeah.
Correct.
Oh, Topper.
Topper Harley. Question number 3. What type of animal serves as the class pet in Kindergarten Cop?
It is a ferret.
He's a ferret.
It's not a ferret.
No, it does not bite. All right, number 4 in the movie question category. What was the name of the Good Witch of the North in The Wizard of Oz?
It was Glenda.
That is correct. And your final question.
Not revealed in that movie though, but part of the subplot was that she was even more benign because she was constantly suffering from a raging yeast infection.
Ooh.
Price
check on Vagisil.
Steve, your final
So wait,
question.
you've been suffering all? Well, you are a saint.
That's why she's the Good Witch.
Yeah.
Think about the other one.
Of course, the Munchkins all knew because they're at that level. No big secret to us.
In Monty Python and the Holy Grail, what creature are Arthur and his men attacked by while trying to enter the cave of Carbanog?
Repeat that again.
In Monty Python and the Holy Grail,
Yes.
what creature are Arthur and his men attacked by while trying to enter the cave of Carbanog?
I believe it's a rabbit.
Big, nasty, pointy teeth. Absolutely correct, Steve. In your movie category round, you also scored 3 points. We now have a tie game at 6-6 heading into our final round. We typically have 5 rounds, but we're cutting it down today to just 3. So the way that round 3 works, this is our pick a category round where you're going to choose 3 numbers between 1 and 15, which will each correspond to a different category. Steve,
It's like a shuttle launch here.
Yes. As you are,
We got to turn our keys at the same time, too.
Yeah. After the retinal scan, you'll be asked to produce a semen sample.
Ooh. We'll do that in the bathroom afterwards. Steve, since you are our special guest today, I'm going to give you your first choice. Pick 3 numbers between 1 and 15.
3, 9, and 11.
3, 9, and 11.
It's the ages of my 3 children that I don't have. Or that in a perfect scenario, I'd space them that way.
All right.
3, take
3,
6 years
9,
off.
11 for Bill. Or
Wait,
Steve,
what?
Bill, give me your 3 choices.
What did...
3,
You said 3, 9, and 11?
Yeah.
3, 9, and 11.
Give me 6.
Okay.
Give me 10.
10.
Give me 14.
6, 10, and 14 for Bill. All right. Let's go to Steve first. You selected your first category of category number 3, which may be favorable for you as a horror fan because you've selected the horror category.
All right.
Which Halloween film... Oh, and I'm sorry, before we go on, the question point total values for question 1 are 2. Question 2 will be worth 3 points. Question 3 will be worth 5 points.
Listen, I don't do math, okay?
So question 1 is 2, question 2 is 3, question 3 is 5. Steve, your category 3 is horror. Which Halloween film does not feature Michael Myers?
Number 3, Season of the Witch.
That is absolutely correct. Season of the Witch does not have Michael Myers.
However, it is a very solid movie. Season 3.
Oh, I might disagree
Season of the
with
Witch.
that one. I hated that movie.
You would be wrong.
It's okay to be wrong.
You need to revisit. Actually, the guy who edited the original Halloween did it. The idea was to sort of make it Michael Myers free.
Yeah.
And to do an ongoing series of films. But no,
but because it sucked so much, they didn't.
No, check all the subsequent after, even the second Halloween stinks. So I love Rob Zombie, but the original John Carpenter, he needs to be the boogeyman. He's not an abused kid who becomes a serial killer.
You've heard Danny McBride is supposed to be writing a new one, and John Carpenter is supposed to be scoring it.
Right.
That sounds interesting.
But Michael Myers is, as Donald Pleasant says, as a matter of fact, he was the
Michael.
He was the boogeyman.
All right, Bill, we're going to switch over to you. Your first category is in the category of cartoons.
Okay.
Which former WWF wrestler played the live-action version and voiced the animated Mario on the Super Mario Brothers Super Show? We're going late 80s, early 90s.
WWF wrestler?
Former WWF wrestler.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I'll take a stab.
Late 80s.
Ultimate Warrior.
Answer. Steve, would you know this one?
No, would not know this.
DJ, do you know it?
I know it, but I can't think of his name.
So you don't know it.
He was loud.
You don't know it.
He was loud and abrasive.
Yeah.
What wrestler was that?
It is Captain Lou Albano.
Yes, Lou Albano.
Captain Lou Albano.
I used to love that show. On Fridays, they'd play Zelda instead of Mario Brothers.
Yep.
Captain Lou Albano was actually a captain in the Royal Air Force. A lot of people don't realize that. He is actual military.
That's where he got his name from.
Pat just commented in the room, Captain Lou.
Here we go.
Well, Pat would know. All right, we are going to go back to Steve. We're going to stick with Bill since he is now down 2 points. Bill, your next category that you selected was comic book movies.
Ooh. Okay.
This is a multiple choice question.
All right.
Which of these?
3 choices.
Yes. 2 choices here.
Two.
Just one choice for you. No. Which of these characters were not part of the Suicide Squad in the Suicide Squad movie? A. Boomerang. B. King Shark. C. Killer Croc. D. El Diablo.
Which one was not in there?
Which one was not a part of the Suicide Squad?
Give it to me one more time.
A. Boomerang. B. King Shark. C. Killer Croc. D. El Diablo.
See, I fell asleep during this movie.
You did.
So, I know Croc's in it because I got his pop at home.
Okay.
I know El Diablo's in it.
5.
I'm gonna say
4.
King Shark.
Oh no.
King
Shark is
your damn button's not working.
I keep
It's a
hitting the right
pregnant pause. It's like
buttons.
the last scene in Psycho there. The King Shark character, by the way, they do a damn good job on The Flash.
Okay.
they do.
Of depicting that character, which is pretty comical when you stop and think about it. But they made it look pretty badass.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I don't remember a shark in the movie, and if it had any type of similar context to actually being a shark.
They actually made it. Made it a solid.
I love that last scene with King Shark, Captain Cold, and the Flash.
It was really
It
good.
was really good.
Good
John.
stuff.
Well done.
All right, so with that 3-point question, Bill has pulled ahead of Steve by 1 point here. Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, 1 point. So
I have every confidence that you're keeping an exact score.
I'm writing them down. I'll tell you
yeah.
what I'm done. We're gonna switch over back to Steve. Your second category, or your second question in the category number 9 was
feminist Russian literature.
Well, kind of, because you got romantic comedies.
Here's where I lose it. Yeah.
How does Steve Carell describe a woman's breast in The 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Like bags of sand.
Absolutely correct for 3 points, like a bag of sand.
Have you ever actually touched a breast?
I want to grab a woman's breast and it feels like a bag of sand. All right, so Steve is back up on 2 by 2. Bill, your final question is worth 5 points.
Okay, that's huge.
You absolutely need to answer this question to remain in the game and send it back to Steve.
What's my category?
Your category is in sports.
Oh, okay.
Sports movies.
Hopefully these little figurines can help me out.
I have every confidence that you'll get this question.
Okay.
What is the name of the country club in Caddyshack?
Oh, God. Oh, Danny, that would be Bushwood.
Bushwood is correct for 5 points, giving you the lead back. Steve, you have just one question left. If you do answer this question, you will have defeated our league champion. If you miss, you will be shamed forever.
All right.
Or at least for today.
Your final question comes from the 90s sitcoms category.
All right.
Your question reads, on Friends, what was Ross's reasoning for sleeping with another woman while dating Rachel?
They were on a break.
They were on a break is correct. We have a new champion in Steve Morrison defeating our current champion, Bill the Thrilled. Here. Excellent job.
You know, if I had to go out on that note to anybody, it would
Thank
be
you.
Steve
Thank
here.
you. It was just luck of the drawer.
It was a very spirited bout here. You guys really
Pretty good, right?
showed your knowledge.
Yeah,
I mean, you
absolutely.
each had 3 questions in both the first 2 categories.
Yeah.
You know, a tie ball game heading into the 3rd round.
Right.
Yeah, a question here, a question there. Definitely could have, flipped the entire landscape on its head. But
Do you know what happens when we do our crack shot and it's people are calling in?
Right.
They're on a computer. They
Yeah.
can call up a wealth of the biggest
yeah.
minutia in the
Oh,
world.
yeah.
Who they can pick the most obscure movie. Go back to Nosferatu. Who was the hearse driver? Yeah. Forget it.
But I mean, you and I, we're similar minds. We just have so much, a plethora of just random
Useless,
shit
yeah.
just sitting up there waiting to be mulled over for moments like now.
But for broadcasting, that's actually good. So as I say, I know a little about a lot, but not enough about anything.
Yeah.
So I'm an abysmal failure as a human being. But for broadcasting, I'm okay. I'm all right. So
Hey, before we wrap up, do you want to do a few strange stories and just go through some of them real quick? What do you want
we'll
to do?
have to ask DJ if we can.
DJ,
do
we got a
couple.
few more minutes to just.
All right,
No?
we'll do one. Just one.
screaming you off.
Just one. All right. I'm going to pick my favorite one because this one's the most hilarious. So, Steve, you might be interested to know that the conservative Christian group 1 Million Moms is calling for the cancellation of AMC's Preacher after a scene involving Jesus having sex was shown during the episode Dirty Little Secret. A statement from the group reads, Bill, do you want to read the statement?
AMC would never in a million years air a show that defamed Muhammad in a similar fashion. I urge AMC to issue an apology for blaspheming my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and cancel this blasphemous program. Preacher, immediately.
2 things. True. AMC would never do that with Muhammad.
I don't think anybody would.
Right. And
Except South Park.
and B, why do they care? Don't watch the show. Wow. Don't watch the show. The show is not meant for them. If a Priest Humpers would be a show I would not watch if I was with this coalition.
Probably not.
So that whole show is. By the way, if you watch Preacher, there's a lot of cool stuff about faith in it. Actually,
Yeah.
So, but it is
The second season's
It's
been a lot
meant
of
to
fun.
be a button pusher,
Right.
so that, but it's not in the realm of its targeted audience. It's not pushing buttons. It's just entertainment. But I will say, faith is given its proper merit.
Yeah.
So in fact, faith is what saves the preacher's existence, basically. So, it's like when the coalition of PTA moms. Inglorious Bastards was, of course, it's not meant for you.
That's not how
It's
Hitler
not
went
for
out.
you. Don't go see that.
Coming up next on Dirty Little Catholics.
If you, what you do is you send out your flyer and say, "Don't watch Preacher." But
Yeah.
what they do is they pick something that'll get them that you just read the story.
So we just helped out 1 million moms.
They got
You're welcome.
They got their
You heard it here first on the Cinescape.
Right. Yeah.
These are probably the same moms that are watching Pretty Little Liars, too.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for us today on our very special first birthday episode. We just one more time wanted to thank you, Steve, so much for coming
Thanks,
in
Steve,
and
for coming
spending
in
some
today.
time with us today.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me. It was an honor.
You're absolutely welcome. Anytime. We would love to have you back sometime to talk shop with us again. Obviously, if you are in the Philadelphia area, you will know that you can tune into the Preston Steve Show on 93.3 WMMR on your radios. If you are not in our listening area, you can find the podcast form on iTunes. So make sure if you are not in our listening area, you go ahead and subscribe to that. Steve, is there anything else that you would like to kind of plug while we have a couple of seconds left?
No, just that. What I'm going to do is when we're back on Tuesday after Labor Day, I'll give you guys a nice shout out on the air, and we'll link to your site off of ours. And it was a lot of fun. But we have some stuff coming up this week on. We're going to try to treat people with a profound clown fear. We're going to have a hypnotist.
That's me. I hate
And,
clowns.
all right, so we're going to have. Okay, we have people who are just terrified of clowns coming in to be hypnotized by the same guy who does our smoking cessation.
Yeah.
That hypnotist. We call him Dr. Rosenpenis, but his name is Dr. Rosenberg. But he's really he's a great guy, and he's really effective, and he says he can do it. So if they get it, then they get passes to see the movie It. But I mean, this must be a bad time.
I mean, we do have our tickets for next week for the screening of it. It's going to be tough, definitely.
Yeah,
yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing you cringe in your seat.
Yeah,
so
I'm going to be one hand over my face the whole time.
But that's it. Thank you for having me again, guys.
Thanks, Steve. And one last shout out to Mission Music. Once again, Friday, September 22nd. 8 to 12, 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. Saturday, September 23rd, 12:30 p.m. to 12 a.m. Check it out. It's the Blues Fest in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Going to have Red Hot and Blue, barbecue burgers and blues there. It's going to be an amazing benefit for a great cause, giving instruments to
These
Undeserved.
undeserving kids. Underserved. It's quite different.
kids.
You little bastards don't know how lucky you are. Running around, making a mess. Here, take a tube and get out of my face.
Just playing your guitar, squibbity-doo.
Bastard!
So if you're in the area, check that out. It's going to be in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can check out all the information on the Cinescape fan page or go to missionmusicnow.org.
Help the undeserved.
Help the undeserved and make them deserved again.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us today. We're going to get back to Saturday for our next show in 2 weeks. We hope you enjoyed our very special birthday episode, and we wanted to thank you all for listening to our show over the past year. We couldn't have done it without you.
It's been great.
Make sure you check us out on thecinescape.com and all of our social media. We will see you guys again in 2 weeks. Happy Labor Day, everybody.